Identifying effective support systems to enhance African American male athletes' college readiness. The introduction will give a broad focus and look at overarching themes. The interplay of sports and academics has been a heavy research focus area. Sports has usually served as a way for athletes to gain opportunities and status. High school athletics in the black community has been seen as the avenue to help kids get out. As a result of this emphasis, African American males have been athletically prepared for college but not academically ready. African American male athletes are less college ready and eventually graduate at lower rates and are less academically successful. African American male athletes have shown some benefit, specifically on the college level, from academic support systems tailored to meet their specific needs. ACT benchmark data. Benchmarks are set to determine if a student will be successful in freshman level college courses. The benchmarks are English 18, Reading 22, Math 22, and Science 23. This table is specifically about African American students overall for 2015. You see low percentages for each benchmark, and you also see a high percentage of 61% of students meeting zero benchmarks. This table shows college graduation rates for black males in comparison to other athletes and other students overall. For athletes' graduation rate, it's 53.6% compared to 68.5%, and for overall graduation rate for black males, 58.4% graduate compared to 75.4 of all other students. The theoretical framework is based on Comeau and Harrison's 2011 model of academic success for student athletes. This is established for college athletes, but it provides a visual representation of the matriculation of a college athlete as it pertains to the balance between academics, athletics, and social interaction. This model is an example of an input environment outcome model. Statement of the problem. The impacts of academic support systems high schools provide to increase the college readiness of African American male athletes have not been adequately examined. Nature and significance of the problem. What does the literature say? Why is this important? Harris 2014 looked at how black male athletes are disenfranchised by schools. This was a qualitative study focused on high school students. The authors recommended moving toward a more pragmatic approach and involving more quantitative study. Bemper, Harrison, and Clark 2012 looked at the connection between performance and motivation. Black male athletes' motivations come from the development of their racial identities. Stronger connection and identity usually comes through sport instead of academics. Nogueira 2003 is a widely cited study. Examination of the environmental and cultural factors which contribute to black males' academic performance. Nogueira focuses on creating an atmosphere where the goal is to change attitudes and behaviors and making black males active participants in problem solving. Benson 2000 did an analysis of student athletes' personal narratives. It was a qualitative study focused on high school students. An analysis of student athletes' dispositions towards school provided information about the need to examine African American male athletes' self identity and self concept. Ladson, Billings, and Tate is a seminal study, and it focuses on critical race theory and culturally relevant pedagogy. And it acknowledges the forces of race, power, and class. Previous programs and initiatives. Gill and Farrington in 2014 did a study of an intensive learning program. In this program, the participants' GPAs increased in the spring semester. Tutoring, skills courses, and weekly meetings were a part of the program. They emphasized the need to incorporate strategies from the perspective of social work. This study had a small sample size and was conducted at a predominantly white institution college. This study was based in critical race theory. Harrison and Boyd created the Scholar Baller program. Harrison is a leading researcher in this field. The theoretical framework for this is based on Harrison and Comeau's study. There is an established curriculum for Scholar Baller program, and it is also based in critical race theory. This program has not had much substantive data at the high school level yet. Purpose of the research. The purpose of this study is to identify effective support systems as perceived by academically successful African American college athletes that high schools may use to increase the college readiness of African American male athletes. Research questions and hypotheses. Research question 1. Do academic support systems improve college readiness of African American male student athletes? Hypothesis 1. There is no significant relationship between academic support systems and African American male athletes' college readiness. Research question 2. How do academically successful African American male student athletes rate the level of academic support provided by each of these support systems? Hypothesis. There will be no significant difference in the ratings of the identified high school academic support systems based on the perception of academically successful African American male athletes, student athletes. Research question 3. Is there a certain combination of academic support systems which increases college readiness for African American male student athletes? Hypothesis 3. There will be no significant combination of academic support systems which increases college readiness for African American male student athletes. Methodology will be descriptive quantitative research and it will be done through a survey. Research design is cross-sectional. Bullet number 2 will examine perceptions, and this will be addressed more thoroughly in the instrumentation development. Bullet number 3 looks at possible relationships. This will be done, analyzed with hypothesis questions 1 and 2. And bullet 4, looking at predictive qualities, will be tackled with hypothesis question number 3. These instruments for the survey address the major areas of the introduction and the significance, i.e., college readiness, student athletes' mindset, and the dichotomy of racial and athletic identity. These previously developed instruments will be used to create the instrument for this study. This is the conceptual model for this study. This conceptual model is focused on the pre-college part of the theoretical framework, specifically the educational experiences piece. The direct focus is to figure out how academic support systems separate from curriculum and instruction contribute to college readiness. These constructs, faculty mentor, exposure to positive narratives, incentives for academic performance, self and social identity lessons, and incorporating cultural language are based on strategies, tactics, and practices used in previous research and items from already constructed instrumentation. Population sample and subjects. The population is African American male athletes. The target population is former African American male high school athletes. The sample is academically successful college athletes from all levels of collegiate athletics. Successful means college ready, 2.75 GPA in college, and competed in college sports. Instrument development will be through literature review to determine useful instruments, to also literature review to determine the most used academic support systems. We'll look at demographic information, use a panel of experts, and also conduct a pilot test. Data collection, there will be an online survey. It will be emailed and shared on public domain. There will be multiple forms of distribution, and there will be a pilot test done with 10 current and former college athletes. The goal of the pilot test is to get feedback about navigation of the survey, clarity of questions, and the time it takes to actually finish the survey. Data analysis will be done through SPSS. There will be descriptive statistics, correlations, and regression. This table shows the relationship between the hypothesis and the statistical test. So for hypothesis 1 and 2, we'll be looking at relationships, and so a correlation will be used. For hypothesis 3, we'll be looking at predictive qualities of the conceptual model, so a regression will be used. Any questions? Thank you for your time and your attention. I welcome all feedback for this presentation as I further this research activity. Thank you.